Swipe to the left. Swipe to the right. Crisscross. Well, apparently there's no crisscrossing anymore. You know, a crisscross the political aisle.
A dating app for all of us conservatives.
Apparently politics have become so partisan that people won't even date someone with different beliefs about human rights.
You'll start off by building your perfect profile. No pronouns necessary.
Isn't that bonkers? This is a totally new thing. In a study published in 2017 by Stanford University, it concluded that people sought out like-minded people on dating apps. It appears as if in the contemporary period, political orientations directly affect the social relationships people seek to form, which results in increased political homogeneity in formed relationships. This has the potential to amplify polarization through the creation of homogeneous social networks and households. Yeah, no shit, dude. Bloody academics. Just say the thing. You guys are so verbose and annoying that people are now coming to us YouTubers for their information. Don't listen to me, by the way. I'm a compulsive liar. Except when it comes to the cow. Speaking of, my name is Tara Mooney, and this is the only channel on YouTube where all videos are written and produced by a cow. She couldn't be in the video today because she's actually at a rally where Bernie Sanders is speaking. How cool is that?
And I want to convey to you my belief that millions of working people throughout this country are proud of what you are doing. They're proud of your fight for justice, and we stand with you. Thank you.
I'm so jealous. But if you like and subscribe, she might appear in the next video. So yeah, it's not exactly a revelation that people don't want to date their political opposite. You want a relationship with someone whose values align with yours. It's common sense, right? It would be like you were speaking a different language. You know when you're sat in a cafe in Paris and you're reading Susan Sontag's notes on camp, and then you spot the most gorgeous woman you've ever seen in your life, and she's French. You then invite her over to your table to strike up some conversation, but alas, hello darling, fancy a cuppa? Because you're a Brit bong, you can only speak English. She then gets the ick and runs off. Oh, I've dropped a clanger. What a cock up. Bonsoir. Today's video is sponsored by Babbel. What I like about Babbel is that it has short 10-minute interactive lessons that feel accessible and achievable. Babbel's speech recognition helps with your pronunciation and accent in the non-judgmental safety of your own home. Le garçon. Le garçon. Because ultimately, I want to learn to speak French with actual French people, not just understand it. How else am I going to land my French wife? Get 60% off your subscription today by clicking the link in the description. And let me know which language you'd like to learn and why. We can be each other's cheerleaders on our language learning journeys. Merci, Babbel! I won't go into much more detail on why political opposites shouldn't date because I've already done so on my podcast, Raising Hell, with my friend Jordan Teresa. In this episode, we break it down issue by issue on whether we date people with different views on human rights, the importance of voting, climate change, COVID responses, and many more. We also settle the issue on whether we'd hate a conservative if they were hot.
Do we say it at the same time?
Okay,
3, 2, 1, no!
A conservative? Inside of me? In this economy? Does being a Tory mean I'm not woke enough for love? How could I date a boy who treated my right-wing persuasion as if it was chlamydia? They were wrong to do that, Charlotte. Chlamydia is much easier to get rid of. Some might say that's petty and cry about it, but here's some advice from Auntie Tara. Be as picky and petty on dating apps as you like. If someone being a Potterhead is a litmus test for you, I support you. If seeing entrepreneur in someone's bio makes you go, yeesh, I support you. If a guy's whole profile is photos of him doing stand-up and that gives you the ick, I support you. And if you exclaim loud and proud, never kissed a Tory, I support you. I extra support you because seeing the coping in response is very entertaining. The left love to boast that they've never kissed a Tory. There's just one small problem. Conservatives aren't offended by the claim on Lucy Powell's t-shirt. They're merely wondering how she knows it's true. Oh, sweet little Michael Deacon, didn't you no, we can tell. Rather than discussing how political opposites won't date, I'm more intrigued by the responses to people who identify as moderate or apolitical on dating apps. For some people, these labels are an issue, and by some people, I mean myself and the small circle of people I hang out with.
Come into my echo chamber. Here, there's lots of little gay people who love you.
I was inspired to investigate this when a friend of mine highlighted the frustration of having to identify as a liberal on Bumble when you're actually a leftist. At least at the time, Bumble now has a left option. So I did something called a data science, and I asked my Twitter peers, which is a bigger turnoff on dating apps, apolitical or moderate? And here were the results. Apolitical won the majority with 56.2% and moderate with 43.8%, and there were more than 4,000 votes. So that's my study. Call me Professor Moomy. What intrigued me about the replies was that there wasn't a super clear consensus on what apolitical and moderate mean. Firstly, let's dissect the term apolitical. Its definition states a disinterest in politics, a detachment, shall we say, which could lead one to a few conclusions. Firstly, a charitable interpretation would be that a person is apolitical because they don't engage with politics enough to actively speak on it. Secondly, they might have a sense of apathy and hopelessness, so they choose to disengage with politics, which is somewhat understandable, but an awfully smug and superior attitude towards something that is unequivocally important. Thirdly, they don't care about politics because it doesn't affect them. A rejection of curiosity, perhaps. And this is a problem for people looking to date. In 2020, more than 500,000 OkCupid users said that they wouldn't date someone who didn't vote. This is considerably more important to women than it is to men, which, when you think about it for more than 5 seconds, isn't at all surprising. The common conclusion from this is that women are just more directly impacted by the outcome of elections. Take, for example, how women of colour are overrepresented in minimum wage jobs. The personal is political. So if you are a politically engaged woman who dates men, seeing them identify as apolitical is a real punch in the gut. I think it's extra frustrating when you're on dating apps and you see educated men who, are bankers, doctors, lawyers, well-travelled, identifying as apolitical. I just think it takes a lot of hubris, really. It's kind of like they're saying, look at me, I'm earning so much money and living such a great life that I don't need to think about all that. The pause. But even in casual dating, politics does matter. I want to know a person's opinion on abortion and contraception and slut shaming.
A quick rant about...
Honestly, the fact that Roe versus Wade got overturned kind of makes me feel like we went back in time 50 years and women just lost their rights. So kind of fucked up, honestly.
To make it worse, his profile states he has a moderate political view.
Now, what about moderate? What even is a moderate? Well, it depends who you ask and where they live. Typically, it means someone who rejects extreme political views on either side. About 1/3 of Bumble users who display their political affiliations identify as moderate. To some, moderate means, I think about it, but I'm underinformed. Or it's a way station for people who grew up in conservative households on their way to becoming more liberal. Though many responded saying that they thought moderates were conservatives in disguise, which would make sense. Although I was goofing on those conservatives earlier on, being openly conservative on a dating app, especially in a city like London, does hurt your chances of getting a date. The social consequences of admitting you're a conservative.
Very foolishly put One Nation Conservative on my Tinder profile. There was this girl that I super liked. She responded to it saying genuinely, "Why do you hate poor people? Why do you hate poor people? Why do you hate poor people?"
The ayes to the right, 309. The noes to the left, 323.
We were welcomed by someone who posed as a receptionist, who then watched us in the waiting room for 20 minutes and then introduced herself as actually she was the assessor and she'd been assessing us.
Despite her disabilities, Arabella was turned down, and it took taking the case to tribunal to overturn the decision. ITV News can exclusively reveal how much the government spends fighting appeals like Arabella's. £443 million since 2013. Research by the charity Scope suggests 200 million of that was when PIP or employment support allowance had been wrongly denied.
Those who identify as right-wing are 2.5 times more likely to hide their political leanings than those who lean left. When a dating website called My Tie was first built, they built a function where members could select 3 deal breakers to rule out potential partners. A person who voted Tory was chosen by 60%. And this is on a dating app for corporate professionals. Oh no. So perhaps someone might hide their more right-wing leanings and opt for the moderate label instead. With all this in mind, as a person navigating dating apps whose politics are brain broken, I'm not surprised when I find that an apolitical or moderate person and I don't match in our values. But what about people who identify as one thing, like men who identify as liberal or leftist, but then turn out to be something else? And it's a total sham. That stings a lot more, and it's harder to avoid. The term wokefishing was coined by Serena Smith in the 2020 Vice article, "Have you been wokefished while dating? Here's how to tell." Basically, it's when someone cosplays as caring about the same progressive values that you care about in order to reel you in.
No, it's weird. A lot of macho guys say that they don't like women to have leg hair, but you know what? I'm okay with it. What would I prefer? Shaved, yeah. I don't read white men anymore, and neither should you. Well, apart from my texts.
This relates to the whole pick-me boy, soft boy, and nice guy phenomena. Say, hypothetically, you're a girl, and you're talking to a guy, and he seems to agree with you on all things political. It almost seems too good to be true. Then as you spend more time together, you start to spot some discrepancies. He says he's a feminist and despises rape culture, but then when he's with his friends and one of them makes a rape joke, he laughs along. He exclaims how men are trash and he hates men who lie and cheat, but then he turns out to be a liar and a cheater himself. Oof. So to go back to the Twitter poll, it's a tough call, but I'm gonna say that apolitical is worse. Or maybe moderate. Oh, I don't know! Anyways, thank you for watching the video. It means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, because 1 like equals 1 more conservative dating app being created for us to goof on.
We're sorry that you've had to endure years of bad dates and wasted time with people that don't see the world our way, the right way.
I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Hello and thank you for watching today's video. I just want to give a shout out to my lovely patrons who make these videos possible. Thank you so much for your support. And last but definitely not least, let's do today's subscription pet shout out. So for the first time, I believe, we're going to be shouting out some fish, some better fish, some beta fish. I jest. And they are called Pluto and Mikey. Mikey is a red veil tail who is almost 4 years old, just like Siggy. He likes eating shrimp from my hand and can even recognize my face. Pluto is a blue half moon betta who is a year old. He is shy and likes to hide in his cave or build bubble nests. Oh, look at this little guy. Thank you so much for submitting these little cuties, and let's give a round of applause to Pluto and Mikey. Au revoir.